Too late.
Yeah.
It's too late.
Fuck.
All right. Welcome, Dan and Pat. First of all, congratulations on coming as far as you can in this game. There are 10 people waiting who you have had a hand in either directly or indirectly in voting out of this game. And tonight, those 10 will be deciding which of the two of you is the most fit winner of Survivor Islands of Adventure. So this is going to be a roundtable style Final Tribal Council, and we're going to have different groups of people coming on to discuss Outwit, Outplay, and Outlast. But before all of that, we're going to start off with opening statements. So, Dan, why don't you start us off?
Oh, fun. Okay, so I'm gonna try to keep this like kind of concise, and I'm not gonna like read anything to you guys. I don't have anything pre-written. Um, I just came into this game really excited to possibly meet some new people, and I'm happy that I did. My original tribe, I was a little bit worried about some people, but I was able to make lasting connections that brought me all the way to the final two. Shout out to Pat. Um, I think that something that I did well in this game was using the twists to my advantage. So, starting with the civilians swap, I was able to make connections with some of the villains that other people weren't able to make and use those to my advantage down the line. I think that's something that separates my game from Pat's. Not that it makes it better, but just something that's different was I had more opportunity originally to make those connections quicker. Um, I want you guys to ask me like sort of hard hitting questions. I don't want you guys to hold back because I think that all of you deserve to know the truth about both of our games. So I don't want anybody to feel like their question is out of line or inappropriate, or I want to be like roasted as much as I can because I feel like some people think that I played a little bit of a snaky game, and I'd love the opportunity to sort of explain why I did the things that I did. So, like I said, I'm going to keep this concise, and that's all I have for opening.
And Pat?
Um, my opening statement would just be that I would say that I played a very loyal game from beginning to end. That was like kind of like my thing going into this. I was cast as a hero, so I kind of wanted to stick with that. I couldn't really see myself playing a villainous game. Although I did have a lot of under the radar moves that I don't think were really seen. I think that I was a lot more quiet in my gameplay, and I think Dan's game is a little more visible to the jury. So I think I would want questions based on like just for me to be able to explain my game moves I've made and decisions I made and how I was able to make the connections that I made and use those to my advantage to get further into the game and get the final four to who they were who they were. So yeah.
All right, thank you both. We have the Outwit Play Outwit section first, and Chelsea's already here, so thank you for being punctual, Chelsea. And we are waiting on Timmy and Madison to get on, and then I will talk a little bit about what this section is, and then we will go for it.
But for right now, we're just gonna take naps. Monty. Hi, Chelsea. I miss you.
Oh, everyone's on. All right. So, welcome everyone to the Outwit section of Final Tribal Council. So, Outwit for us is how Dan and Pat used their own brains to get through this game. So, that includes how they formed social connections throughout the game, how they used those connections to make moves, and all the things that they came in pre-equipped with that they just used. So nothing that we did, everything that Dan and Pat did by themselves. So the floor is all of yours. I will be, since I don't think Chelsea can talk, I will be monitoring her headquarters And everyone else, get ready to go for it. You have 20 minutes on the clock to talk about this as much as you want.
Y'all can unmute yourselves and go.
I want to make sure if I can go first. I wasn't sure if Madison and Chelsea thought about that, but I'm going to speak anyway because I'm talking now.
I could find the button, sorry.
So proud of
Well,
you.
look, it's my favorite Ginger. Looks at Pat.
I hate Billy.
I already know
I
you're looking
wasn't-
at me.
I wasn't
Billy,
looking
shut up
at
and let
you.
me ask my question. My first question is for Dan.
Hi, Timmy.
Hi, Dan. In your opening statement, you said that people probably think it's kind of a snake game. How'd you go about trying to keep relationships you had formed early while you were kind of switching sides? How'd you make sure you didn't go too much against those relationships and destroy them?
So I think that I was able to sort of maintain some of those relationships by not always voting for the person that was leaving. So I know that sounds weird, but so specifically with the Sammy vote, I knew Sammy was going, but I voted for Drew or whoever got votes that round because I didn't want to vote for Sammy. So I voted for Drew to keep my relationships with Pat and Chelsea and that side. The Madison vote is a different story. The vote switched really last minute, which is true. And I just felt like I didn't have the same the same social connection with Madison, unfortunately, as I had with other people. So that kind of ruined that relationship, I think, a little bit. But I was able to sort of backpedal and still have Pat and Chelsea and Mark's trust after that vote. So I think it was just making sure I had a backup plan for all those times that I was a little bit snaky.
I like that answer. Worked for me. Answer the question. Took me a while to think of that question, so I'll mute myself for a second.
He's
Madison, Chelsea, go.
My two brain cells struggled to answer that question. So.
I mean, my question was kind of similar to what Timmy asked, but I'll just piggyback off of that. And this is for Dan. And trying to keep your relationships with different sides of people good. Did you ever worry about getting caught and being seen as someone who's playing the middle, or as Timmy said, a snake?
Oh yeah, for sure. I knew that it would probably take the right two people to talk in order to figure things out, but I don't know, maybe I'm delusional, but it didn't really seem to happen too often. Realistically, all that needed to happen was Drew needed to have a really real conversation with Pat, and they could have figured out that I was telling Drew basically everything Pat was telling me, and I was telling Pat a lot of the things that Drew was saying to me. But I knew that if I was able to ride the middle and make moves that benefited both of them at different times of the game, as well as benefiting myself, the likelihood of them talking to one another would be less, and the likelihood of them targeting each other would be more. So I was worried that people were going to sort of figure me out, but I mean, I made it here, and I don't think that I was found out, but if I was, somebody can definitely roast me about it. So
I want to say that definitely by how close what you were telling me about Drew is definitely how I knew you were close to Drew. So I was able to monitor that, and that's how I was able to get information from there to benefit the people that I trusted, as well as Dan on the other side, to keep us safe. I knew Dan was super close to Drew. That wasn't.
Yeah, and Drew knew that I was very close to Pat.
Right.
So I think that was a positive thing though for me, because I feel like maybe on Drew's side, I don't know, he might have felt like I wasn't telling you as much as I was telling him, but I don't know. Obviously, we'll see. But
I got a question for Pat.
Okay.
So for a while, at least, it was the heroes who then were heroes at the swap kept getting chopped off. Just head disappeared, gone. How do you make sure it wasn't you that happened to?
I was really tight with Dan and the civilians, and I was really tight with Mark and the villains. So being tight with them, I knew what the plans of both of them were, And I also knew that through talking to them, they didn't see me as the threat or the connection between the three tribes to be able to keep myself and, say, Chelsea, Dan, and Mark also safe. Because with the vote that Andrew went home, I told Mark that they were targeting him. And that's how Mark exploded, and we got the vote back on to Andrew to get Mark safe.
Okay, so Chelsea sent her questions, and her first one, she says, I had the opportunity to work with both of you for practically the whole game, so I was always in the know of plans and votes. I was never personally outwitted by either of you, but do you think that you had to use any outwitting strategy at all during the game on other people, or do you feel like luck was on your side?
I guess I'll answer first. I'll say that I would think outwitting was on my side when I had to talk to Andrew and Chris and Madison when the four of us were in that alliance after I told Mark, because they didn't know. I don't even know if Madison knew that I was the one who told Mark that the votes were for him, and that's when everyone freaked out. And then me and her got added into this random alliance with two of the civilians, so I was able to find out through them that was going on and also secure that they weren't targeting me. They thought it was Chelsea, actually, so no offense, Chelsea, but I wasn't going to be like, it was me. So as long as they didn't think that it was me, I didn't really mind.
I think that I kind of outwitted Chris the whole game. He like kind of just took what I said as like the truth and as like what was happening, which a lot of the times it wasn't. But I think that there was a lot of times where he was like kind of a crucial person to have on my side. So yeah, I think that that's probably the person that I most outwitted.
Okay, Chelsea also asked, how important is outwitting people to you versus outplaying and outlasting? So, like, if you had to rank the three different survivor tenets, what would they be?
To me, I feel like outwit is probably like the middle of the road. Like, I think that outlasting is obviously the highest one because you want to be in the final two. You want to outlast as many people as you can by making those moves that move you forward. Outwitting is really important, but it's also kind of a double-edged sword. Like, if you're playing very hard in the outwit category but forgetting about the other ones, you can easily get caught in things. So I would definitely put that as a number 2. And then outplaying, like, I guess plays a part, but twists don't always help you. Like, idols don't always help you, and challenges don't always help you. So it's like, I think if I had to rank them all, they're all important. It would be outlast, outwit, and then outplay.
I would agree with Dan about the order, but for the reason why I don't like outplay is because I don't really think I understand that like winning immunity challenges and using that to get to the end is like a strategy that is respected among some people, but I don't think that that is a way to get to the end that causes votes to win. Like people who win the last 5 immunity challenges on the show and then win because they were in the minority but got there because of that, I don't think that that is really credible. So I think that being able to get through the votes without having immunity is a lot more impressive than outplaying.
Just to speak on that point too, like I know that
honestly, I didn't even realize that you had won a lot of immunity right now.
Just to respond to Pat's shady comment, no. I think like I have like in this game specifically, I did win a lot of challenges, but I don't think that. I think that all that made me do is be able to play more of the outwit category without being like afraid of being voted out. So like I kind of just used it as like a time where I could play a little bit looser and a little bit like maybe speak a little bit like more to other people and that kind of stuff because I knew that I wasn't the one going home. So
and to respond to that, I didn't have immunity a lot, so I had to be risky without that protection.
And just to go off of that, no,
Okay, Chelsea has a third and final question. And her last question is, socialization is quite an important aspect of the game, especially when it comes to outwitting people. So you need to know what's going on in other people's heads without giving away that you are potentially working against them. Sometimes talking to too many people can get you into trouble. So do you think that it's important to talk with everyone or keep your alliance tight in order to establish a more loyal type of game?
I'll answer first in saying that I would honestly probably admit to not playing the most social game outside of my alliance, but I agree with talking to too many people is going to get in trouble, because if I had reached out to people, I think that would have put a bigger target on my back, and I didn't want the target on my back. I wanted people to keep targeting Mark, and Mark, who was a physical threat, and Chelsea, who people assumed was like the biggest social threat in the game. So I wanted to have those people tight with me and then use connections I have with the people close to me to stay safe, instead of branching out and making and putting my name out there and talking to all these people like that.
Okay, so I think that talking with everyone is way more helpful than just keeping your alliance tight. I think that that's something that I definitely tried to do this game. And I think it's interesting that Pat brings up, like, if you talk to a lot of people, oh my God, my phone just fell over. If you talk to a lot of people, yes, like, you're more likely to then be targeted. But I feel like unless like there was plans behind that I don't know about, I don't think that I was really ever at risk of going home, even though I was talking to everybody. I don't know if that's because everybody thought that I was a loose cannon and that I would just be like somebody easy to take to the end, which I don't think is true. But I only received one vote that I know of, and that was from Mark, just because he couldn't vote out a villain at final 5 or whatever it was. So I think that being more social is actually beneficial to getting to the end. Like, I think me being able to talk to everybody and have those connections with people and like with both sides was beneficial to me getting here. So I don't know. I don't think that I was a real target, even though I was talking to everybody. So I don't think that's always true.
I didn't really talk to Tracy, Dan, or Chris. I mean, Drew or Chris, sorry. So I essentially had to find people to talk to them, essentially Dan, to get information from them. But I would say within the other people, including Sammy and sometimes Charlotte, I was pretty tight with them and able to keep that all cool and chill.
Me too.
I'm just kidding.
All right, Chelsea, Madison, Timmy, do you guys have anything else to say?
Yeah, Madison looks beautiful. Everyone else also looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, Chelsea said, good answers, both of you. Good luck, heart. Okay, so if no one has anything else to say pertaining to Outwit, then thank you, Chelsea, Madison, and Timmy. Your time at Tribal Count Final Tribal is done, and I hope you got the information, some of the information at least, that you need to make a good decision. Next, we will have Tracy and Adam come on and talk about.
Oh my God.
His name is Andrew.
Andrew, Adam, do I care? AT. He's been going by Adam, so we're just having fun.
Timmy, I love you. Oh, he's gone.
We're just waiting for Tracy's flop ass, which what's new.
Chelsea, you can leave, babe. Oh.
I mean, they could have stayed and just, like, listen to your shits.
I'm tired.
So am I, but I have to be up for this stupid thing, so.
Relatable.
Look, I have an 8 a.m. tomorrow, okay? I don't care. Look, I got the Burger King gear still on. Look at this. I'm gonna button my shirt.
Oh, Burger King. Number 15,
Burger King
foot
foot
lettuce.
lettuce. The last thing you want in your Burger King burger is someone else's foot fungus. But as it turns out, that might be what you get. A 4chan. I can't.
You kept going, I was gonna mute you.
Final Tribal Council, everyone. Final Tribal Council, welcome.
Ooh, I have shit on my lip.
And the only thing I should give you is a handful of antidepressants so that you stop sitting around and crying all day.
Yo, guys, guess what?
What?
Chicken butt.
I had clean bathrooms today. I
Oh.
literally had like clean up like period blood off of the girl toilet.
We are live on the internet.
I know. Look, I've been in jury for a while.
my.
I've got like cabin fever. I'm going crazy. Guys shouldn't vote me out. Look, you were missing out on this the whole time.
I know, I'm kind of mad I didn't get that Burger King monologue more than once.
Look, Pat, if you had kept me and like we made Final 2 together, it would have been the first time that Final 2 consisted of one person.
We would have won.
Yeah. Is Tracy ever coming?
Probably not. Yeah,
can I just...
she is. No,
Oh,
she
I
is.
thought I would be able to get to it solo.
She's just a flop.
I do it solo all the
Bitch.
time. It's pretty fun. But
Got whole cashews, lightly salted.
they're the best kind.
I know. That's why I got them.
I like almonds too. Then
Almonds
again,
are
I'm
good.
a big nut guy, so.
Is that right, Billy?
Oh, you know it, Dan.
Hi, Tracy Morris.
All right. So,
Finch.
okay.
He's not gonna fucking talk.
I mean, all like the little broken pieces.
So, welcome to the second part of Final Tribal Council. This is Outplay. So, Outplay means for this section, you will all be discussing how Dan and Pat reacted to, used, adapted to things that we gave them. So, that includes twists, challenges, tribe swaps, idols, all of the things that mine and Billy's brains had to come up with to throw at you guys to make your lives miserable, and how they either used it to their advantage or didn't let it go to their disadvantage. So,
But mostly Monty's brain.
Oh.
so you have 20 minutes on the clock. Have at it.
20 minutes.
Oh,
Good try.
Karen,
I've got
it's been
cashews in
so
my
long
mouth,
since I
though.
heard
You
your
can
voice.
start off, Tracy.
What did you say, Andrew? Andrew.
I'm
Iffy.
eating cashews. You can start.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Let's start with, like, the first twist I can remember, which was the tribe swap. Dan, how did you... Because, wait. What was the breakdown for the tribe swap?
It was
For civilians tribe,
For
it
civilians,
was-
yeah.
yeah, me, you, Chris, rest in peace, Drew, Dan, and Karen. Not
Kathy.
Karen. Who was
Kathy.
Kathy? And then the first vote, it was like 4-2 against Kathy. Oh, thank you, Madison. You're my best friend too. And after that, we had double tribal.
All right,
Fun.
Dan, just explain to us how you navigated all that.
Okay.
'Cause
So I was like really kind of shook because I had an alliance on the original Heroes tribe that involved everybody except the two people that I got swapped to the civilians with, which were you and Kathy. And Dennis wasn't in it, but Dennis was like on the side because I love Dennis with all of my heart. So I was a little worried about that because I didn't like, we had like a fine relationship, but we just weren't aligned. And then Kathy was like saying that she was going to get clocked or something like random every day, and I just didn't know what was happening. So I felt a little worried about that going in. So I kind of felt like I needed to maybe make a change and kind of side with the villains more than the heroes. So I worked really hard to get
That was a good choice.
A friendly relationship with AT and Chris and Drew.
Cookie. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, I love. So I guess that makes me a little sneaky, but after that, I think that like mine and your relationship did improve moving forward because we did work together pretty late into the game.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew that if I wasn't the first one to make a move to get the trust of the villains, that I could be the first one out in a tribal situation. So.
AT.
All right, so first I want to ask that same question, Pat. Like, how did you deal with the tribe swap and then the double tribe council? And then I sort of want to talk about how both you dealt with some of the art twists in the game. So Pat, like, the tribe swap, you're losing a bunch of your potential allies. The tribe's down to 6. And then after that, there's the double tribal. Can you tell me your thought process through all that?
Well, I had only essentially lost Dan as an ally because I had known essentially at that point that there wasn't really a good chance that I was going to work with Tracy or Kathy after we voted out Gage. I knew that
She's shaking her head.
Yeah, I knew that wasn't going to work.
God, I hated you guys for that. Oh my god, I hated you guys. I was like, fuck the heroes. After that, I was like, heroes, I can't do this anymore.
I knew there was, by making a move like that there was no chance that we were going to be able to salvage any relationship. So we had to get rid of the last person, which was Isaac, when we had lost Tribal Council. He was the last person of that 4 that was still on our tribe. And then we had the 5 people left after that. And I had lost Dennis in the double tribal, and that was a blindside to me. I assumed that he would probably be getting votes, but I thought that Drew was going to go home. So that was a big upset for me, losing Dennis.
All right. So Dan, Pat, after the merge, there was that whole blind week where Timmy ended up going home. So Pat, who did you vote for?
I voted for Tracy that week.
Okay, Dan, who did you vote for?
I voted for Timmy.
All right, and then Pat, you competed in that challenge and won Sapphire, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk more about how you guys use your idols because, one second, because you've both had idols at some point. You with Sapphire, and then Dan, you played yours at Final 5, I believe.
Yeah.
I just want to get that thought process, like, because obviously I wasted my idol, like, pretty bad. But what was your thought process with yours? Obviously, Pat, you made a huge move. You got out Drew with just 1 vote against him. And then, Dan, you were able to hold on to yours all the way until Final 5, which that itself is impressive. So, I guess tell me the story behind it. Dan, you can start if you want, and then we can go to Pat.
Can I actually talk about both idols?
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
So I'll start with mine. So I found mine like Final 8 or Final 7. I can't remember. And I guess my thought process was originally just to tell Pat because I felt like I could trust him the most. But then after thinking about it, I told Mark and Chelsea. And there was a lot of other things going on in the game too that like made me unsure if I should tell anybody at all. But I did tell my alliance about it. It was just basically a way to ensure that I could get another round in the game. I was thinking about it, and like I was thinking about it at the time too. If Chris hadn't quit, I might have considered using it to save him that week, just to like shake things up. But he quit, so
yeah, he I'm not sure if he's supposed to, but he actually told me about that.
Oh,
So,
okay. Well, he probably wasn't supposed to tell you about that, but
honestly,
well, at least I'm telling you about it now.
Yeah, I miss him so much.
So yeah, that was my plan, was either to shake things up before the final 5 or make sure that I made it to the final 4. So I wasn't really talked about for a vote, so I didn't have to use it until final 5 just to ensure that I made it to final 4.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk about Pat's Sapphire Idol.
I'm sorry, just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm really glad that you brought that up. I didn't want to because, again, I'm not sure if he's supposed to tell me, but so if you had played, if Chris hadn't been kicked out, like if you had if you had been able to play your idol on him, going in final 5, final 4, final 3, do you think you still would have been safe, or do you think that would have eroded trust?
I think that it would have just switched the sides for me. I think that me, Tracy, and Chris might have been able to.
But Tracy's already out.
I would have been out. I was out at that point.
Oh, right. Not Tracy. I meant to say Charlotte. Charlotte could have possibly made something happen. I don't know. I think that would have been maybe not the greatest move for me, but I think it would have eroded more trust, which is why I was more thinking about not using it. But it did cross my mind that I could shake things up if I really wanted to by using it. But,
so ultimately, it was better that Chris quit and didn't put you in that position.
I mean, in a way, I think that it does suck because I think Chris would have voted for me in a 5 tribal council kind of setting. But now I just have to work harder to get everybody else's votes. So it is what it is.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
Thanks. Can I quickly address the Pat Sapphire Idol thing?
Oh, yeah. Sorry,
unless
I forgot.
Unless you want to hear
go ahead.
Pat first.
Yeah, go for it. And then Pat
okay,
can rebuttal.
I'm not trying to discredit anything that Pat did with the idol, but I do feel like I played sort of a big role in the use of the idol.
I'm not going to deny you did. No, you did.
Yeah.
There's no denying that you were a big part in me being able to play that.
Yeah, because I made sure Charlotte was voting for Drew. Made sure. And then I voted for Pat to make sure that the votes would stay on Pat as having the most. And then I didn't know if they were voting for Tracy or Chris. So it was kind of surprised when they voted for Tracy, but it didn't matter. And then I feel like I could have easily been hey, everybody, Pat's using a Sapphire Idol. One person vote Pat and the rest of us vote Drew, and Pat could have been out. So I think he put a lot of trust in me not to do that. And in a way, that's a good game move for him. But I really could have screwed everything up. I feel like I was a key part of making that move work. And we weren't even sure if we were going to use, or he wasn't even originally sure if he was going to use the idol that round and just have 5 votes on Drew and just call it a day and save the Sapphire Idol. But I kind of wanted Drew to go out on the Sapphire Idol that I told him about, just to give myself a little bit of a game move, as well as Pat getting a game move as well. So,
all right, that's a lot to take in. But Pat, do you have anything to say about that with your Sapphire Idol?
I do. I use the Sapphire Idol, I would say, a lot more than just as the idol was used in that one round, because initially I had told Chelsea right away, and I was I wanted to tell the people that I wanted in my final 4 about the idol. I told me, Dan, and Chelsea. I mean, me, Dan, and Mark, Dan, Chelsea, and I wanted those 3 in the top 4 with me. So I wanted to tell them to build trust to be able to get further into the game with them. And they found out towards the end. I think they only found out in top 3 that I had told them all. They all thought they were the only ones who knew about it. So I had used that, and then they weren't talking to each other about it. So even with the vote of the use of the Sapphire Idol, I had told Dan thought I told them an hour before Tribal. Mark thought I told Dan 10 minutes before Tribal. So I had to use it that way. And I know that Dan had a huge play in getting Charlotte to be the one vote to vote out Drew. I can't deny that, but With me having the idol in the first place, that was the only way we were going to pull off that move anyway. I won it, so I mean, I think that is probably more than securing a vote that Mark could have done anyway. Mark probably could have got Charlotte to vote for Drew.
All right. So, yeah. I don't know. Before the segment's over, I have my little nephew's coming down. If you want to see him.
Hi. I hate to be this person to talk about the game again, but
Please do.
I do think that there were other times where I was able to use like the idols and stuff to my advantage because I knew where they were. So on the Sammy vote, I did Drew came to me and was like, "Am I getting votes?" And I said, "You're absolutely getting votes." And he was like, "Okay, well, I have an idol." I was like, "Well, you better play it because like Sammy will go home," and like helped put that together too. So I think that having those relationships with other people did give me insight into the game, and I used those things that could have gotten me out to my advantage instead to get somebody else out. So that's all else I wanted to say about that. Also, voting for Pat in the Sapphire round during a light week kept trust with Chris and Tracy. So I used that to my advantage. But
was your intention always to be with the civilians though, or was it like just flip-flopping back and forth?
Honestly, my intention was to be with Pat and Chelsea and Mark.
That's what I figured. Okay. So screwed either way.
Just being honest.
Man, fuck the heroes. Oh my god. I hate you guys even more. God.
I felt like I needed to be more of a villainous hero if I was gonna make it to the end. Like,
for sure, 100%.
Yeah,
you're like a villainous hero, but you're also likable enough with the people that you were like working against, I guess.
That's what I tried to do.
So.
In my sociopathic way.
Fucking sociopath.
My alliance.
Anyway, what was I gonna say? I don't even know. What other like twists were there? Fuck. I've been out of this game for so long.
A lot of them got canceled because
it was mainly just idols and the swap.
Yeah.
And, I was safe for I was safe for the triple tribal. I was safe for the double tribal because I won challenges. Other than that, I can't think of anything else.
And Pat, I don't know.
I wasn't safe during those because I didn't win challenges. But
you suck.
But I was socially safe. I know I suck at challenges. There's no denying that. So I have to use other things to get myself further into the game. I suck at challenges.
But like at the beginning of Merge, there were like instances where your side wasn't really in control of the vote. So how'd you like manage that? I guess
I had to manage that because even though someone from our side was going to get voted out, I had connections with people in the people voting against us to make sure the vote wasn't for me. And if it was for me, the week it was, I was able to get to use my idol. I tried to make myself socially safe because I couldn't make myself immunitively safe, whatever the word is.
Immunitively?
I don't know. I think that the vote could have easily been for Pat if we wanted it to be.
Yeah, but I built enough trust with you that you weren't going to vote for me. You would tell me that the vote was going to be.
I mean, but like, was it the connection, or was it that people just didn't see you as much as a threat as the other people?
I mean, that could be that they couldn't see that I was involved in decisions every week as much as I was. I don't think that people noticed that. I was the one who told Mark that that the vote was going to be for him when Andrew went home. No offense, Andrew, but
Rip Andrew.
yeah. So I had to use my social connections to make sure that the people in my inner circle were safe. And I got us to the top 4, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, it was just Pat. I did nothing.
Oh, I mean, I know.
Nobody.
Yeah,
nobody
you didn't
else
carry
in the
them,
alliance
Dan.
did a single thing.
It was just Pat. He carried the three of you on his back. Is he?
Andrew, you're like mute.
We can't hear you.
He's not muted. There's something wrong with his microphone.
Type, Andrew. Type.
Can you now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna plug him back in. 1 second. Still hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me get straight. Chelsea wasn't one who told Mark about the plan.
It was me.
All right, well, now I owe her an apology because I blamed her this entire time. Literally, I wrote her a message like right after I left. I was like, "You'll be joining me soon enough," and then she makes Final Four, so I look like an idiot.
Stupid.
I know. And
I'm so mad that I wasn't like logged into Tracy's account when Chelsea and Mark both showed up because I was ready to fight them. Now it's too late.
And I think I was the one. I don't know. I might not have been. I'm pretty sure I was the one who told you guys that it was Chelsea who leaked it. Even though I knew
was
it was.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it was
when Chris and Andrew were talking about it. They kind of just like suspected it. That's how I thought Andrew was just like it was Chelsea.
But we have had conversations in our alliance chat about how Chelsea was probably the one who leaked it, even though
but I don't think you were the one who brought it up.
But we still talked about it.
It might have just been my seething Chelsea hatred.
I just remember that I was like kind of, admittedly, Dan, I was kind of pissed at you because, well, actually, I have like a little thing written out. I've just been like sort of harboring this whole game, and
let me have it.
All right, so it's somewhere in here. Oh yeah, I don't know. It was just you played a really good game, like the way you were playing, sort of snaking through like each alliance. But when I went, I was a little bit bitter. Well, not a little. I was pretty bitter. Because we were just together for like a short time, but I feel like we did have like a good bond. And after I went, I honestly did not know that you had voted for me. I thought, because I had 3 votes against Mark. One was obviously me. The other was obviously Chris. And then third one was Tracy. But I thought it was you until
Hi, your time's up.
Drew came to jury. So
why is that in Spanish?
What?
Because I'm taking Spanish.
I mean, okay. To be fair, he started talking before the timer went off. So could I at least
let Dan talk and then shut it down.
So
saying.
Just real quick before the segment's over.
Yeah.
I'm voting based on gameplay, not based on personal feelings. But did you have that worry that the way you're playing this game would eventually lead to like a bitter jury? Playing.
That's this next upcoming section. So
I know I'm perfect transition.
Yeah, and like I'm sorry, like I am sorry for voting you out.
You don't have to be. I'm just like saying.
No, but like in a way that I am, because we did get close in that time on the civilians. My loyalty originally just went with Chelsea and Pat. So like, and through that went with Mark once everything came together. So it was just like, I'm sorry.
I get it, dude. Don't worry. I've gotten over it. It was just like, it stung a little, but
yeah,
it's a game. I don't take personal.
All right. So thank you for the outplay.
You're
For
welcome.
finishing that up. So we are going to move on to Outlast. So, welcome, Dennis, Mark, and Sammy. Thank you for being punctual. You two are free to go, by the way.
Bet. Bye.
I'm just gonna chill here for a little.
Bye.
Don't mind
No,
me.
Andrew, you have to
You're
leave.
free to go. You're free to go.
Thank God. No one.
That means
Tracy.
please go.
Andrew, you need to leave.
So
Fine.
we have brought one person from early jury, Dennis, the earliest juror, one person from the middle of jury, Sammy, and the latest juror, Mark, to talk about how both Dan and Pat maneuvered through this game, all encompassing to get to the final two with a jury that they think would want to reward them with the win. So you have 20 minutes on the clock. You can go for it.
I think Dennis wanted to start. He had a question, so you can go ahead, Dennis.
Yeah. First off, hi. I'm pretty sure at least there's things that nobody has said so far, and that is pretty ugly. Congratulations, you do, to actually making it here to the Final Trouble Council. Be proud of yourself. Be proud of your game. And yeah, here's my problem. No problem. Since I wasn't really part of the merge and haven't met half of the cast for gameplay, I feel like a hypocrite basing my vote on basically gameplay. So after outlasting 20 other people for the past 40 plus days, I want each one of you two to tell me one thing of the season that you're going to take away, and basically one thing where you can say, yeah, and basically one thing you can say, I did that, or maybe have a great memory that you can look back on together with whoever you're going to stay in contact with this season. So in short, TLDR, just tell me one of the things you're the proudest of you've done in this season. May it be a gameplay move or just a good connection or good memory.
I would say that most of my games are mostly based on social game. So I would say I'm most proud of my overall social game in the way I was able to make my friends and keep my connections as tight as they were. And the friends that I've made, I feel like I could actually be friends with in real life if anything were to happen. So I would say I'm pretty proud of like the close relationships I was able to form.
I don't want to that's honestly what I was going to say too. I think that I was able to be social with people, but still play the game in a way that was loyal to those who I was loyal to in the beginning. And I really appreciate the friendships that I made in this game comparatively to other games that I've been in. I think Pat and I are going to be friends for a really long time after this, which is really nice. And other people as well. I think that it's hard these days to play these games in a way where you can make friends after it. And I think that it's nice that this game is going to end that way, hopefully.
All right, thanks a lot, and have fun, Sammy and Mark, with actual game questions.
I'm gonna get Sammy, do you want to go, or
you can go ahead?
Oh, God. All right. Hello, friends, or so I thought a couple days ago. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. I think I got in a little late because I was dealing with some stuff, so I've only seen the last 10-ish minutes of the last segment. In that 10-ish so minutes, the one thing that I took a big takeaway of, one thing I took away the most was Dan trying to take the spotlight and kind of overshadow all of Pat's moves. So, and you can roll your eyes, Dan, but that's what it was. I don't know why.
I didn't roll my eyes. I just glanced to the side.
So I think my Sammy. I have two questions. I'll start with the first one. I think I was lucky enough to get to the final three based on how my game went, with Ricky going early, and then Madison, and then Sammy, and then I was kind of my hand was forced on how to play. I had to play with Dan and Pat and Chelsea because there was no way I was fucking playing with Tracy or my dead body. So I just want to know what your guys' biggest struggle was in the game, and like how you overcame that. Either one, Pat, you could start if you want. I don't care.
I guess honestly, my biggest struggle in the game, I guess, would be immunity challenges, and the fact that I can't
Fair
really
point.
win them as much as I would like to. So
Whatever.
in the fact that I lose so many immunity challenges, I have to play harder to keep myself there and not get votes that week. That was probably the hardest thing for me to do, was to have to constantly be playing because I couldn't relax at all because I never had immunity until the final two, which
Let's not talk about that. Anyways.
Yeah.
Dan.
I think my biggest struggle was trying to make sure that the jury wasn't going to be bitter, but I'm a little worried that that's the case at this moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
Continue,
fine. If that's how y'all feel, that's how y'all feel. But I think that I struggled the most with having like actual friendships with people and knowing that this was a game at the end of it all. Like, it did suck voting people out that I was close to. It did suck like knowing people were going home that didn't know that they were going home, but I did know who was going home on every single vote. Like, nothing blindsided me, nothing surprised me. So I think just balancing the whole being social and wanting to have some sort of like friendships at the end of this and actually feeling like I played a game that I could be proud of strategically was the part that I struggled with the most, just because I didn't want to like make people think that I was like an asshole. But that could be the case.
I think there's a lot of people in this community that'll agree, like Johnny and Ryan mostly, that once I get voted out, I'm very bitter and I'm very mad. But like the second the game ends and like the votes are in, I could care less, and we're all good friends. But I think going back to your bitter point, I think Tracy said this earlier. She said that you did a good job of like being in an alliance, but also being likable enough to the people you were against to keep you around. But I think that was also your problem because you're too focused on being likable to the people you're against and not to the people you were with. Because you felt like very snaky all game, the way it just felt like very flip-floppy to me. I don't know. Would you agree with that, or?
I mean, I think that I did flip-flop back and forth, but I don't think I did it in a way that was like every time I moved, I thought about it. It wasn't just like me being like, okay, I'm going to fuck this side over now by going to this side. I'm going to fuck this side over by going back to this side. I knew that there were people in this game that if I went far with, they could beat me in the end. Like, I do feel like Timmy and Madison have a better social game in a lot of games that I play. I've played with them in the past. Sammy has a great social game. I've gone to the end with him in games before, and it's been close. Like, it's not something that I really wanted to do again. Drew wins a whole lot of things. Everybody knows that. Like, those moves weren't because I wanted to be a flip-flopper. It was because that's what I felt like I needed to do to get myself further in the game. So I guess you can look at it as selfish, but it got me to the end without being a major target.
I think you were a pretty big target, at least for me. I think you just won at time, like when it was right, and then you had the idol. Because there was a couple times, like I went to Pat pretty much since merge, and I was like, we need to get Tracy and Drew out now because Dan needs to go like right now because he will win if he gets to the end. But you just like you would win immunity, and then like we had a chance to take Drew out, and then you'd win immunity, and then we had a chance to take Karen out, and then you had the idol at final 5. So I think you were a threat. It's just you won time.
I do think that there were times to get me out though, and people still didn't take them. Like if you like, and I knew that you were trying to like, I knew that you felt that way about me, which is why I kind of felt that way about you. Like, yes, we worked together, but I knew that you are a gamer. Like, I know that you think about those kinds of things. So like, that's why I felt like I couldn't go to the end with you, because you did want me out for a while. Like, I knew all of those things. Like, that's why like it sucked at the end, because I like you as a person, but I knew in a game sense, you did not want me here.
I mean, yeah, it wasn't that I didn't like you as a person, because I think like we'll definitely be friends.
No, I know, I'm not saying
but
that.
No, I just didn't want you around because the way you would, I felt like you would go back and forth with the other side, like with what was the challenge? It was the challenge that Stoner quit that you were like being weird about, and then you ended up winning, and then the idol that you all of a sudden had after I called out the alliance, and then you was it the final 3? You were like, oh, I've been out all day, I haven't been able to do the challenge, and then you fucking beat me by 15 steps. I think it was just like those kinds of like, what's not like condescending, but like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but it was just the way you went about certain social situations didn't rub people, or at least me, the right way.
I understand that. And like, just to clarify, I was out all day. I did have therapy that day, and I did just hit the challenge really hard for like 2 hours. So I honestly thought that you had like 70 or 80 steps. I did not think that you had 40.
Yeah, imagine that, me doing that much. No way.
Well, when you said you were off all day and you had all this time to do it.
Yeah, but I kept fucking up in the 40s. It was really annoying. Okay, anyways, this is about you, not me. Going back to what I said earlier with like how I felt like you were kind of trying to take the spotlight away from Pat a little bit with like his idle play and like some other things. I want you to tell me what you think Pat's best game move is, and then vice versa.
I think Pat's best game move was being as loyal as he was to people. I think it's put him, based on like what I feel from the jury, put him in a better spot in Final 2 than me. Like, I think I have to fight a lot harder to show that my game was as solid as his, because you guys think that I flip-flopped and stuff. So I think Pat's ability to be 100% loyal to his group of people and make it to the end was his best move.
Pat?
And I would say Dan's best move is, although people think it's like a flip-floppery, snaky thing, I think being in the middle and getting to the end is beneficial to whatever side you want to benefit the most. And if that gets your side to the end by knowing what the other side's doing, then, I mean, that's a pretty good way to do it.
Sammy, do you want to chime in at all? I'm kind of running out of questions.
Okay, so for outlasting others, I know that immunity challenges and challenges itself comes a lot with that, but also people do as well. So I want to know like the number one person that had the most influence on your game. You can, whoever wants to start can go ahead.
Honestly, I think Pat had the most influence on my game. I don't think that we'd be sitting here at Final 2 if we didn't influence each other's games. That might be a cop-out, but I literally told Pat most things that happened. Yes, I left certain things out, like not telling him that I told Drew about his Sapphire Idol, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I made sure that Pat was safe, and Pat made sure I was safe. So I think he did influence my game the most.
This is honestly a really hard decision for me because of being stuck in between Dan and Mark for a lot of the game. I mean,
I'm on jury.
Yeah, but I would probably say there were more weeks that I had the plans with Dan and then filled Mark in on them. That I would say that happened more than talking with Mark originally and going to Dan.
I mean, that's fair. I knew that. Because like I said, I feel like with Ricky and then Madison and then Sammy going home, I was kind of just forced into an alliance. Mm-hmm. I mean, we talked about it at Merge, but like I was always kind of like that fourth wheel with you, Dan and Chelsea. I was just kind of hoping to take Dan out at a timely time at like Final 5, Final 6, mm-hmm. to where it didn't make me look like I was turning on the alliance anymore. It was like, we need to take him out before he wins. And then just hoping I could win a couple challenges at the end. I knew that's what I wasn't like. That's why it's so annoying. I can't be bitter because I fucking had no choice. Dennis, do you have anything you want to add? You good right now? What else goes in this outlast part, Monty? I don't know what to ask.
If no one's got anything, then we have some questions from Charlotte.
Okay, Dan, when you said sorry, I just thought of this. When you said you were going to like use the idol on Stoner at whatever it was, Final 6, was I gonna be your target if that all worked out properly?
Probably.
Yeah, that's fine because I was just telling the jury that I was gonna try and use Stoner to take you out if he stayed around.
Yeah, I think Stoner would have sided with me there, Mark, but I'm not sure. I don't know. It wouldn't have really been like a positive play for me to do. It was just something that I was like, I could do this and I could shake up the game just for fun, but obviously
I feel like me and you were very like, God, I don't want to actually say his name, but like Russell and Sandra were like all game we were like kind of working to get each other out, but we ended up just making it to the end together because it was both beneficial for us.
I'll claim Parvati in the middle.
Except I should be Sandra, so.
I think I'm good if you want to get to Charlotte's questions, Monty.
All right. If no one else has any other questions, so Charlotte has one question for each of you. So her question for Dan is, give one move you gave pre-merge and merge that wasn't a last-minute desperate move.
Pre-merge and merge. Pre-merge, she just wants one.
One for each, yeah.
Okay, so pre-merge, I'd probably say my me being social with the villains during the civilian swap was probably the best move. It wasn't really. Did you say not in desperation or last minute?
Was not a last-minute desperate move.
Okay, yeah, that wasn't last minute or desperate. I just knew that I should be social with the other side in order to make my life and merge a lot easier. So that was my pre-merge. And then merge, I would probably say helping take Drew out with the Sapphire Idol, making sure that Charlotte was voting for Drew, making sure that there were 4 votes on Pat and 3 votes on someone else.
All right. And her question for Pat is, give one move other than that idol you made on your own without being a sheep.
I would say specifically, I mean, I guess even with going back to pre-merge, I would say the gauge vote, because I knew that Karen had formed an alliance with the 4 of them on a tribe of 10. So I had to get the other 6 together and tight so that we could take out the other 4, and we took out the game. So I think that getting that original hero alliance was probably my best move, and building the trust with those people to carry out through the rest of the game.
All right. She finishes it up with, love you both, but I got to ask the mean questions. Hee hee. All right.
I have one more if we got a second.
Still got 3 minutes and 20 seconds.
All right, cool. Actually, I got 2 real quick. So I think Dan hit it on the head when he said he has to like fight more during his final tribal council because of the way the jury like may or may not feel about him. So, and I didn't get to see the first part, so I just want to make sure Pat had enough time to talk about his game and make sure he felt like he explained everything.
Are you giving me?
Yeah, if you want it.
I mean, I think I was able to convey that I was able to use my social game to get me to the end with using you and the villains and Dan and the civilians and me and the heroes to know what was going on at all times and who was targeted by who, and to keep myself safe. So I think that using that, having the Sapphire Idol, making sure that nobody else had it by winning it, was probably 2 of the best things I could do to get myself to the end.
Okay. I didn't get to see the first part, so I just want to make sure.
Oh, no.
And just end this on a less stressful note. What was your guys' each favorite tribal of the season? Because we both know all the tribals this season were pretty crazy. So what was your, no beating around the bush, one tribal council, which one is your favorite? Dan, you can go.
The one where you left. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. No. I said no beating around the bush.
I'm literally joking.
No.
Probably the tribal where Madison went, because I feel like nobody knew what was going on besides me and some of the other people.
Oh, well,
so
I thought you only knew 5 minutes before tribal, though.
What?
You said you only knew 5 minutes before tribal for that.
Yeah, but it was still fun.
Oh, okay. Just making sure that was still true. Pat, your favorite tribal?
Not to be cheesy, but it was definitely voting Karen out because that meant that the top 4 was the top 4, and that was the happiest day of my life. No lie.
Preach. Fucking preach.
Honestly, that top 4.
We love
was
voting out
like,
Karen.
and that top 4 was like home. So
Iconic, yes.
I was so happy that we were able to get to the top 4.
Alrighty, gentlemen. It was fun playing with y'all. I'm pissed I'm not there instead of one of you two, but it is what it is. Good luck to both of you. I love you guys.
Thanks, love you too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Monty, do you want to read Tracy's or Charlotte's question?
I just did.
Oh, you did?
Billy just stepped all over Sammy.
That's literally a euphemism for Billy hosting the season entire time.
Sammy, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna tell both of you that I wasn't bitter for like anything that you've done. I don't really care. I literally do not care. I could give like one. I don't know. I don't care. But I just want to say I'm basing my vote on who I felt played the best game. So I'm putting all feelings aside. I'm just looking at both of you and your gameplay. So if that gives any of you any confidence, let it be.
I love you, Troy Sylvan.
Thanks, Sammy.
Sammy got the best line of the season, though, and it was at Tribal Council, and I can't remember what it was.
It was. I never said I was helping you.
It was just the way you delivered it. With the eye roll and the...
His yawning was pretty good, too.
He's like, I never said I was helping you.
Was that really a wrap on this season? Jeez.
Yep.
I mean, y'all still have to vote.
Yeah, so now that Final Tribal has come to a close, there is just one thing left to do. So, jurors, you have a little less than 24 hours to rewatch this Final Tribal as much as you can and vote for your person that you think that you want to vote to win Survivor Islands of Adventure in your headquarters. So your votes are due at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. The sooner you vote, the better. At the very latest, that is when finale will be. So we will be reading the votes at that time. So the sooner you vote, the better. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you all for a great season. And good luck, Dan and Pat. Thank you, jurors, for a good Final Tribal Council. And we are